an artist of New Creations by Stacey, and I'm an elite Dixie Belle retailer here in Ardmore, Alabama at the Rustic Willow, also in Huntsville, Alabama at University Pickers, guys. So if you're local, please stop in. Otherwise, you can find all my products and everything else on my website, newcreationsbystacey.com. Guys, I'm just kind of waiting to see if I'm live here. And so if you're popping on, just say hey, where you're watching from. Still new to the YouTube live, so hopefully it works. I'm not actually showing I'm live yet, but let's see here. All right, maybe. Nope. All right, guys, we're giving it just a minute. I'm not even showing I'm live here, so let me go to my page again. All right, perfect. So yeah, as you're popping on, guys, just say hey, where you're watching from. If you watch this on replay, just hashtag replay. And guys, please subscribe to my page. So typically I usually go live on Facebook. And of course, now they're deleting the lives. So I'm coming over here to YouTube and trying to build up my YouTube page. So totally free for you. Please subscribe. And the button should be right below. I don't know. I'm still figuring out YouTube. All right, guys. So we're going to just go ahead and get started. Tonight, we're going to be working on our start to finish project here. This is our... show you the top. This is our sapphire wings piece. I've got the drawer out just because I've got some stuff going on there. We're going to do some ghost stripes on here with some pin stripes. So I'll show you guys step by step how to do that. And then we are going to, oh man, I had the chat before, but now I don't have it on here. Well, hopefully guys, I'll be able to see comments. Last time I wasn't able to see them after the live. Either way, though, we're going to go through that, and then we may also come in and do a little protecting, kind of talk about paint protectants and, you know, how to make it super durable. So what we are doing tonight here is I've painted this piece in, this is in the navy, which is a super dark blue. And then we've got a Bunker Hill blue. And then I did some highlights in a paint color I no longer have out. It's dusty blue. Well, I can post a link so you guys can kind of see that color. But it's the lighter blue with the highlights. We kind of did a cloudy blend on the live Wednesday night on my Facebook page. There's a link in the description as well as all the products we're going to be using. Oh gosh, Elena, I'm so glad you made it. Thank you. It was actually Thursday. I was sick, but I woke up Friday morning and I was just kind of like shaky from not eating the day before and stuff. So I just decided it'd probably be better if we did the live tonight. And I wasn't really sure how I was going to be feeling by Friday night, but I was actually doing pretty good. So thank you so much for all the prayers too. So I can't see comments over here quite, but I did see Elena's up here. So hopefully I'll be able to answer any questions. Last time once the YouTube live went off, the live chat just disappeared. So I couldn't even go back on the comments, but even tonight, I still wasn't able to get it into landscape mode. So I'm working on it, guys. Bear with me. I do have the live schedule out on Fridays, 6 Central Standard Time through December. However, Kristen from Lost and Found Mercantile, hey, Denise, glad you made it. Okay, so I can see people popping in now. You guys, hey, Jennifer. I just see you're called Jen on here, so I almost called you that. Forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, lives. So I might have to move those up to 5 Central Standard Time just because Kristen's awesome, guys, from Lost and Found Mercantile. So if she's going to start doing her lives again on Facebook on Monday nights at 6, I'm going to change my time because I don't want to go over her. Plus, I love chatting with her, too, and watching her live. All right, guys, so we're going to get started. I've actually done some work on this so that we could go through all of the ghost stripe steps I did protect this portion right here in flat because again, we're gonna do ghost stripes. Yeah, so let me ask you guys, those of you who are on, because I know you guys are with me on Facebook too, is the view weird for you on here? Because I'm in the portrait mode. I've been trying to do landscape because that's typically what YouTube is, which is why my videos don't just transfer over. But I don't know why it's not letting me do it. All right, anyway, guys. So I'm using frog tape. So first tip, to me, frog tape is the best painter's tape. You can leave it on for a longer amount of time. Some of like the blue tapes, after a certain amount of time, they stick too much, they'll peel the paint off. But the frog tape you can leave on for like 21 days. I've even seen some take the wood off. But anyway, you can leave frog tape on for 21 days. It won't stick, take your paint off or anything like that. Also has less bleed through than some of the blue tapes as well. Oh, perfect. Okay, Jen. Let's see. Weird is what we do, right? I'm like the epitome of weird, but anyway. Anyway, guys. So I'm actually using this. This is, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's the wider one. This is such a squat area. I wanted to use the wider tape. I don't know what the inches are. I was going to try to tell you. But yeah, you know what else that blue tape will do? It'll pull your transfer right off if you put tape over your transfer. She said it tears the deco paper too. Yeah, you can put this on deco paper, but when you take it off, you do want to be a little bit careful. So this tape is a little more expensive, but I would absolutely recommend it. I do not use the blue tape for anything like this any longer. I keep blue tape on hand though, because there's some things that I just don't want to use expensive tape on. So that I don't need to use expensive tape on. So I do have that blue tape on hand. All right, guys. So I've got half of these done because that's the only way we can do it since this is a multi-step process. I feel like you cannot tell. This, yeah, I think you maybe can. This has not been done with the ghost stripes yet, and these over here have. So before I started this, protected everything in flat. So I had to rush this a little bit. Typically, I like to wait 24 hours after I protect it. That's just how you're going to get the best experience. But once you have some experience with doing this, like I've, let's see, it's been about 24 hours now since I put the flat on. But, you know, obviously I taped it within about 12 hours. And then I just did, like at 5 o'clock this morning, I just did the gloss ghost stripes. So we're putting tape over those. It kind of depends on your previous layers. So like if you do your layers back to back to back to back and really quick and they don't fully harden and you're kind of reactivating them. So let's say you do them within 1 to 2 hours of each other. You put this protectant on and let's say 2 hours later you put your paint on. Even with this frog tape, chances are it's going to pull back some of your paint. So I absolutely like to wait in between coats. I am not 24 hours and you're golden, but provided you primed correctly and your paint is sticking to your piece to begin with. But because I had longer in between my paint steps, they had more time to harden. And so therefore it didn't matter that I'm rushing it with the tape. I hope that makes sense, guys. And I'm going to watch really carefully on here to see comments and even go back through them at the end, just because I want to make sure that I hit them in case they disappear again. I don't know how that works for YouTube lives. Okay, so I'm pulling you guys in super close. Like I said, we did this paint job Wednesday night on Facebook. The link to my Facebook page is in there if you didn't see the live. Definitely go back and watch that. But I'm going to kind of show you how I tape this off. So let's just pretend I was just starting. First thing I'm going to do, so first thing I did was measure around here. I got the center point at the back. It's not perfect, guys. I wasn't trying to make it perfect, but the relative center point at the back. Put my first piece of tape right there in the center of it and then came around from here. The idea in doing that is that I get a relatively equal distance when I come up to the drawer on both sides. But this is going to be my guide tape, guys. And instead of hitting my guide tape right up next to the other piece, I'm going to leave a slight space. Now, this slight space that I'm leaving is really going to be the size of my pinstripe. So if you want a wider stripe, you can make it wider. If not, I want kind of pinstripes. So I'm going to go pretty close in between. And that's just my guide, so I'm not, pushing it down or anything like that. Then I'm coming back in with my other piece of tape. And again, I'm leaving a slight space. You guys, every pinstripe is not absolutely the same. I'm sure if you come in here and measure them, but they're relatively close. And believe me, when you finish this up, you're not going to tell if one pinstripe is a little off from some others. So I remove my guide tape. This one is staying here, so I'm going to burnish down these sides. We're going to whoops, almost spilled my coffee. That's what makes it alive, right? You had to use yellow tape. I have not tried the yellow tape. I always just use this green tape just because it's been phenomenal for me. But what is the difference with the yellow tape? I've seen it, but I haven't really paid a lot of attention to it, Jennifer. But since you've used it, definitely please share. You guys, if you know something you feel like sharing, we all have different ways of doing things, and none of them are necessarily wrong. I just go with my best practices. All right, guys, so I'm coming up here, and I'm going to show you something. This, to me, looks a little bit crooked. So from where this trim is right here. So I am actually, and sometimes that can happen. What I'm going to do is kind of try to straighten that up gradually so it is not you don't see a significant, whoops, that's terrible. Hold on. Let me pull that off. This is my guide tape too. And I want to kind of tilt it a little bit this way. And now we're going to look perfectly even. And see, that doesn't look off. You just go in little tiny sections. All right. So this is, I will tell you, we're not quite coming out to the same place on either side, but that's okay. We're going to go like that here. And the only thing that's going to come out on this side then is going to be really a pinstripe. And I'm just going to kind of put this over here. This was my guide tape. It's not really a huge deal. So I'm just going to kind of put that in. And we're going to leave that alone because all I'm going to do is put a stripe, that guide tape, and then I'll paint the rest of the gloss in. Okay, so now that I have this initial round of tape set up, said on Facebook that they take green tape and stick to their clothing. Oh, yeah, that definitely does help remove stuff. And you can use the blue tape and do that. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I forget to do that. It's like an extra step. And I don't want to, because what you do, we used to do this too when I did estate sales, and we priced out so that the stickers would stick, but that they wouldn't take off like the finish of something. You just kind of stick it down so that it loses its stickiness, go like this, and then put it on. But I don't want to do those extra steps. I mean, we're talking about $1 or $2. I feel like for me, I don't do that. But that is something that you can do if you're concerned about your paint coming off. I will tell you, 24 hours though, your paint's not going anywhere. Provided you prep correctly. And guys, just so you know, I did prime this piece. I used bonding boss, so it's gonna, in gray, since I went with a dark color, but it's gonna, I think I used gray, but it's gonna block, it's gonna block bleed through, which is why I used it from the tannins in the wood. And then it's also going to, well, it can block odor as well. And if you have a surface like that's super slick, like, why do I keep wanting to say linoleum? Veneer, laminate. That's what I was trying to think of. Laminate, glass, anything like that, you can use bonding boss on that to make it stick. Yeah, exactly. That was my problem, Jennifer. Like, I can't remember to do that every time. I'm getting old. My brain just doesn't work that well. Plus, I already have my attention issues. Okay, anyway, to the point. See how easily I digress, guys? All right, so I'm going to tell you something. I never use gloss, but we're going to use gloss tonight for our ghost stripes. Why is my gloss missing? I got out the brush and everything to use with it. Oh, here it is, right in front of me. First of all, let me find. By the way, I did 2 coats of gloss on this as well, guys, because I wanted it to be a significant difference from the flat. You can actually use satin as well. That's okay. I wanted this to be more prominent. Whoops, hold on. You guys, I've also got my puppy dog in my lap. She just came in and wants to cuddle, so I'm trying not to move too much. And I'm going to bring you guys in close. So you guys, I love gloss. I love it because it's super thin and it just glides on. It's just that generally I don't want something this glossy unless I'm doing gross stripes. So guys, my gloss is actually like 5 years old. In fact, it was back when it was $2 cheaper. This is actually from, oh, it's not 5 years. Sorry, it's 4 years old. This is back from 2021, guys. So old Dixie Belle label and everything. I still have this much gloss. I really only use it for ghost stripes, and I think I've protected one smaller piece in it. So here, guys, I'm just going to use an artist brush. Oh, goodness, my granddaughter's using this brush. I hope there's no real pink on it. I can tell when the paint is all the way up my art brush and it's pink. Anyway, I digress. You don't have to worry about streaks with gloss, guys. It's super thin. It's like so easy to use. And like I said, the more coats that you do, the glossier it gets. Kind of like with satin. It just seems a little more satiny and shiny. The more coats you do. And generally, as a protectant, because this is clear coat, it is actually a protectant that I am using. You guys, the sheen changes the actual look of the color. And you'll see once we start peeling this off at the end, once we do our metallic stripes on here, like what a difference the sheen makes. I love satin. That's like my go-to. And we're going to use that on the bottom. And because it's kind of in between that matte and that super shiny finish. So satin's like really my go-to. It's a bit thicker though. So you want to be more conscientious of like streaks and stuff like that when you're using it. But you guys, in my opinion, gloss and flat are like the easiest protectants to use. And this is, clear coat is a water-based protectant, super durable, which is why it's my go-to. It is water resistant, not waterproof, water resistant. You can use like gator hide if you're wanting something more, water repellent. Gator hide is water repellent. And of course the decoupage paper that I use on top, that is actually waterproof. And then of course the flat matte on here, I did 2 coats of that, and that's for durability and protection. This gloss is just for looks. And I'm just going around and painting in all these areas. I will tell you again, let's say I was doing these painted, and I don't do this, but if you want it to just be perfection, I suppose, which my stripes, there's tips and tricks to make those come out really well. But let's say you wanted your stripes to be perfect. You could come in with any type of clear coat, paint this, wait for it to dry, and then paint your paint over, because you're creating that seal right there on the edge of your tape. That will make it very, oh, I forgot my thing again to make sure my brushes don't dry out. But that will make it, it creates a barrier or a seal there. And so your stripes will come out nice and crisp. So we finished with the gloss here. And like I said, I did 2 coats, so I'll give it about an hour. I'll go back and do just a second easy little coat there. All right, so now I prefer, again, I like to wait 24 hours because there is nothing worse than peeling paint off and having to repair to me. So I just like to give it the actual amount of time, but in this case, I gave it, let's see, I did it at 5 o'clock this morning, so about 12 hours, guys. I gave it about 12 hours, and then I put this tape in between. I'm looking for my tape. Oh, here it is. So, guys, I pretty much, yeah, this is the first one. I pretty much went ahead. So what you're going to do is now that you've put your gloss on, once it's dry, you're going to come back in. And I did this all because I didn't want you to have to sit here while I did this 20 times. All you're going to do now is take another piece of tape and come in here and just, so this is where my guide tape was, right? So we're just coming in here now and putting this down. This is probably where I went wrong and went crooked a little bit. But trust me, you'll see. You won't be able to tell. All right. So all I'm doing is coming in and putting another piece of tape in once that gloss is dried. And then this is where we end at. So I go around each place and put a piece of tape where my guide tape was originally. Does that make sense to everybody so far? I can only see comments up here, so let me look. All right, guys. Hey, Steph, good to see you. I don't know. Let's see. I'm not showing too many comments up after this, so I'm just going to assume that they're kind of not there. And we're going to get started. So I'm actually going to do the pinstripes in antique gold. And this is by Dixie Belle Paint Company as well. Guys, and I do carry all of these products in both stores as well as on my website. I didn't get anything out to open this with. Let me see if I can get it open. There we go. Perfect. And, of course, on my website as well. And so this is kind of how it looks. We're going to go through a lot of different ways to use gilding wax on this piece as well. Because we're going to actually finish this piece Wednesday night. So what I'm going to do is just take a little brush, and it's going to build up on the brush, but at first here I'm just going to put a whole ton on it, right? And make sure you're up close so you can see. And we're just going to go along here. And you guys, I'm not really worried about making these perfect. Right underneath the rim up here, I did not burnish it down really well. Same closer to there's some other stuff I'm doing in this area. But same closer down towards the bottom where the trim is. So I'm just kind of going around doing these little stripes. Now, typically speaking, the gilding wax is oil-based, so typically speaking, you do want this to be your last step. It does not require a protectant over it. It is oil-based. It's going to dry in about 12 hours. It does technically take 30 days to cure, and what that means is just the time for it to fully harden. But after about 12 hours, it's going to be dry. You can take a finishing pad and go over it and buff it because it is a wax. You don't have to buff it. There's lots of times that I do not. So it's not a requirement. It will get a little bit shinier if you buff it. Now, with that being said, there's some other things that I am going to do on here. So if I did need to protect this, because there are some instances where I might want to put another water-based product over this, the the answer is when it cures. But with that being said, there's a couple times where I have had to do that a little bit sooner. And so, for example, I was teaching a class once and I had someone kind of jump ahead of me and put their gilding wax on before we protected it. And it was a workshop, so it was a couple days. And so the next day, which was a little more than 12 hours later, the next day, we did use a clear coat over it. It went on fine and there weren't any issues. That is not a recommendation, though. Things could go wrong there. However, I am going to put a black wax on here, and there is a black gilding wax, but it doesn't kind of blend and shadow exactly the same as like the Bestang wax, which is a water-based wax. So I don't want to use it because I don't want to just line out. I'm going to shadow this a little bit more. Just want to get down there at the bottom. So I will probably this weekend go through and do a black wax on the details. I'm not putting a whole ton of it over the actual gilding wax itself, which is also why I'm not too worried about not going all the way down to the trim. But it'll be fine to put it on at that point. So we're almost coming to the end here. And the big reveal, we're gonna peel off the tape, guys. I'm super excited. Now, one thing I am considering doing, but it's kind of a long shot if I decide to do it, and that is going to be to put some transfers over this. Just script lettering in like the same kind of antique gold color. A couple things I can do, because that would be water-based going over this. If I decide to do that, I will need to create a barrier between my transfer and this oil-based product. So then in that case, I would put a clear coat protectant back over this to create that barrier, and then add in my transfer and then protect over the transfer. But another way that I can do it is to actually stencil it on. So if I decide to go that route, once I get the birds on here, I will, I'll decide at that point what I want to do. It just depends on what I want. I don't know. Okay, anyway, guys, so we got all of our pinstripes on here. So now we are going to peel back the tape. So guys, it's super easy to put this on. It's just a lot of taping. So let's go ahead and start peeling back. And I'm just peeling nice and slow. Ooh, that's so pretty on this blue. So guys, can you tell the difference? This is the gloss. This is the flat. They're just ghost stripes. So see how much look how much the sheen changes the color of your paint. It looks like I just painted on slightly darker stripes. But all it is a change in the sheen. We're just going to keep peeling these off. Guys, next on Wednesday night, not next week, 2 days from now, when we do the Facebook Live, I am actually we're going to paint with, here, I've got one right here. This is not here, I've got two of them. We're going to actually use these to paint some little kind of marbly-like things on top Wednesday night, and do a little bit of other work here. Okay, so I do not want to peel this tape off because this is where we came in, and I just did the gloss over here. It's not been quite an hour, but to be honest, this is pretty dry. Well, I'm not going to do it with you live. I'll do it once I get off, because this way you can kind of see some other things that we're going to be doing. All right, so there they are. I am loving them. You guys want to see them from the top? Kind of, let's look at it from the side. So it's going to be really cool once I get the birds on here and everything else. Let me see. So you can see the difference in the colors. It looks a little bit lighter on camera. It actually matches this perfectly. All right, so down here, we are just protecting this so that I can come in, add a little bit more shading, a little bit more depth, and kind of bring out some of the kind of shaded areas in the flowers and kind of bring that all together with the decoupage paper on top. So I want to protect this in satin because I kind of want it to, I don't want it to be shiny as gloss, but I kind of want it to bring these two sections together, and it is. So I'm protecting this in satin 2 coats before I do the final step with the besting wax and the gilding wax. And there's lots of protectants, guys. I just think that, I just feel like the clear coat is very durable in addition to, I think it's one of the most durable. It doesn't have to be reapplied or any of that stuff. Like I said, this is satin. It is going on a dark finish, but you really don't, the only time you really have to worry about potential streaks with satin is really when you're going over a long straight area. Like you're not really going to have to worry, I mean, unless you just put absolutely too much satin on here. But if you do 2 thin coats, you don't have to worry about the tips and tricks to keep satin from streaking because these are all small sections. So you're really not going to get that drag where you're trying to work a large area and keep it movable. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Elena. Oh, thanks, Denise. Let's see. Oh, yeah, talking about the tape. Totally, I could not remember that. Let me just make sure. I just want to make sure I get all the comments. All right, I don't protect live too much because I always feel like it's kind of like boring. But what I was going to say to you, and I think I forgot to say, was that, I just want to make sure you can see everything, was that the satin or the clear coats, it doesn't have to be reapplied like wax. You put it on when you do it. And since I do sell furniture, that's one of the biggest reasons that I use clear coat as opposed to wax. Wax gives it a gorgeous sheen. I love the sheen of wax, but I just feel like, okay, guys, I'm going to protect this part. I know you can't see it, but I can't. And I'll bring you guys in for a close-up here in a little bit. And guys, anything spindly, I really like to use, I like to use a synthetic brush one because that also helps you avoid streaks. But, hold on just a sec here. But anything spindly, I love these round brushes for them here. And I typically just kind of go back and forth, spread my clear coat out. And you see, I don't let like one part dry because that could technically give you streaks. Like if I went all the way down this and only did one side and then I go back in to start doing the other side that I'm spinning around and I'm going over some areas of the satin that are already drying, that's going to create an issue and that will actually create streaks for me. So you want to smooth it all out and not go over areas that are drying already. Even if you missed, let's say you missed something, you see it later, do not go back over it. Wait 2 hours, let the part that's on there dry, and then come back in and hit that spot. I got some little white specks on here. I'm just getting them off. All right, we're just going. So also, I kind of like to hold my bristles down like this. And I'm just kind of stippling into that trim that I added. Make sure it gets in the grooves. It's not a huge deal because I will be using some black wax in there to get into all those grooves. And all I'm doing is just flicking my brush back and forth, more pressure at first, and then lightening up as all my paint. I'm missing like one little section here. So guys, see how much that is? Barely any protectant. I just have this one little section that I still need to cover and make sure we have it nice and smoothed out over here. See, I didn't have it smoothed out over on this side. So let's get that nice and smoothed out. On this second coat, I don't have to be as careful too because I have already protected this once. My first coat, I'm generally super, super careful. All right, so we're just gonna get our little, just wanna make sure that you are in. You can see well here. We're just gonna go around. This doesn't take very long to protect. Whoa. That was way too much. I want to tell you guys, I got to move this around really, really quick. Otherwise, I'm going to have a problem. I wasn't paying attention when I dipped it in, and I just took way too much out. So the key is going to be to spread it out and spread it out as fast as I can. The other thing I could do if I had I'm going to go all the way around, just quick. If I had a baby wipe over here, I could pull some of this back, but I don't. So let's go around this way. So I'm super feather-like because I got this really thick in here. So super feather-like so I don't get a streak. Just going right over that, putting more pressure on it. When I come over here, you can see how those bristles bend as opposed to when I am just feathering over. So again, when I tell you very little paint, I mean very little paint. These brushes, sometimes it's hard to tell where you've been. Hold on, let me just look at an angle so I can see with the glare. Actually, I think I went all the way around after that little incident. I did. All right, so I want to find the one I just did, which is this one, and I don't want to start there. I want to, actually I do, because I want to smooth that out. Normally, I would let that go because it had been a little bit, there we go, smooth it out. You guys, I am feathering. And sometimes as a little trick to smooth it out faster, I'll go in different directions and then feather right over it. And we want to bring this bottom section in here real quick. Like I said, a good synthetic brush when you're applying this, you want those bristles to flow. I also like to have a brush that doesn't have a bunch of paint stuck in it because I don't want little paint chunks in my pretty little finish. So I do try to use new brushes or brushes that I haven't used with paint. I usually keep a protectant brush for a while until the bristles wear down a little bit or until I run out of paint brushes, either one, before I use it for paint. See how I'm feathering that? What that's doing is getting all those brush strokes out. You don't want to see any of those. I want it to look very, very natural. I mean, there's always a mistake in something, like, or a little section I may not like on a piece that I do, guys. I want it to look like a factory finish, but no hand-painted piece ever 100% looks like a factory finish. But as much as I can, I try to. I'll also bring you guys in because, of course, I've come in and done all the dry brushing as well just to get that extra depth and dimension and highlights. Guys, if you join late too and you don't already, please subscribe to my page. I am trying to build up my YouTube channel because the Facebook Lives are being deleted now. So trying to get a little momentum here on YouTube. It's an amazing way that you can help my small business for free without having to purchase anything or really do anything at all. If you click that subscribe button, it's no cost for it. And you don't even have to watch if you decide you don't want to, but it won't do you any harm. And I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, so we're almost done with this, guys. And then we're going to do one last thing, which is one of the beginning things we will do for next week. And actually, before I get to this other leg, I'm going to start it off. Look at that. When I say very little paint, I mean very little paint. And I'm telling you guys, when you're painting, it is the same thing when you are putting paint on your brush. This paint it's Dixie Belle chalk paint. Guys, it has amazing coverage. And there's other kinds of paint as well, but I use Dixie Belle. It's my favorite paint. But it has amazing coverage, guys. Very, very little paint. See, I'm holding my bristles down low again when I'm getting into protecting over this trim that I have added. Guys, and I'm so excited. We're going to be starting new projects next week, and we're going to be doing some molds. I have a new way that I started filling in between, and I don't know if you can tell, but this is 2 pieces of trim that came together. You cannot even tell. I know it's somewhere down here, but you can't tell. It is fantastic for filling in between the resin trims to make them look like one long piece. All right, really quick, I am going to I've got my griddle out over here, and I'll show it to you in just a minute, but I'm gonna start heating up my bronze because I wanna turn my bronze wax into like a paint. I use a griddle just because I'm generally working in larger areas, but you can heat up like a little bowl of water in the microwave, stick your wax in there, the wax will melt. It does cool down really quickly though, so I don't like to keep going back to the microwave when I'm doing a big area. So I use my griddle, which is the same thing I use for things like wood you bend and molding to soften them up. And I'm putting a lot more pressure on my brush, like I said, when I go over these areas. There we go. And then I want to smooth it out. And me personally, I like to go in the direction of like, I don't know, of how I think your paint or how I think the piece flows. So that's why I'm doing these legs kind of going out like this, instead of just going straight up and down over the whole thing. I don't know, but to me, it seems like that makes a difference in creating a smoother looking finish than if I just go up and down. And then I like to go, my last thing is a feather out in the direction of, you know, however my piece is going. That section of my piece, whatever I'm trying to say there. Hopefully, hopefully it made sense. Oh, got a little hair. So I'm going to get this hair out right now because this satin is still fine and workable. But let's say you paint a hair in and you don't see it until later because it happens regularly. And again, grabbing my bristles down low. What I'm doing is I'm keeping them in one spot, and that's helping just protect that kind of odd thin area. What was I saying? I forgot something about, I don't know. Kind of lost my train of thought there. All right, just making sure I haven't missed any comments. Okay, we're going to do the last thing we're going to do tonight, and then we will actually be finishing this up Wednesday night. So, oh, and I forgot a stir stick. Hold on, that's all right. We're going to pull this down. I'm going to show you. So I have my griddle on. I just had it on to warm. Let me turn it up a little bit because this is taking a little bit to melt. We're going to give it a sec. Let me go through the comments while we're waiting for that to melt, and then we'll paint this little section right here. Let me find my paintbrush too that I had out. Here we go. All right, so one thing I like to do is I also like to layer my gilding wax. So we're going to start on the feet. And you can do it all at once, but really I like to keep it separate because I think it gives it a lot more dimension. That's what we're going to get ready to do here, why we're turning this gilding wax into a paint. But I'm just going to go through and make sure I didn't miss any questions, guys. And if you have questions about anything, you are welcome to ask. It doesn't have to pertain to what we're doing tonight. Starting to get out. Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Elena. Yes. See what I mean? I would never remember to do that tape like 3 times. And in 2 seconds, if I keep talking, I'm going to forget what Elena just told me I was talking about. And I already did. So hair, paint it in. So let's say you miss it and then you go back and see it later. Just take like a 400 grit sandpaper. You can really use a 220. Just be more careful with it. 320 grit, 600 grit, whatever you have. And then just kind of go over it with your sandpaper a little bit, and it'll loosen that hair up, and you can take it right out, and then it won't leave that little kind of hair mark too. Not that that's a huge deal when you've got an enormous piece of furniture and you have a little, tiny lint in there, but you know where it is, so kind of bugs me. Anyway, thanks, Elena. Thank you for being my brain. Hey, Amber. Yes, it is. Things are going very well, kind of slowing down again. Life. It just lifes. It's like a little roller coaster most of the time, but it's slowing down a bit. So now I'm back 2 times a week, Monday nights on YouTube, and then Wednesday nights on my Facebook page. I'm just not ready to give up the Facebook Lives. I've been doing them for so long, and I'm so comfortable, and I have regular people, you guys, that I get to see, and I enjoy it. So I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. I know just about everyone's switching to YouTube right now. Oh, thanks, Denise, on the stripes. Thank you, Elena. And you guys, so again, I know I'm going to say this. I'm probably going to bug you guys for the next 3 months. Please subscribe. The button's right there. Let's see. Green tape. Oh, yeah. Now, I don't have to do that with the green frog tape. I'm going to have to try the yellow tape just so I can talk about it. I feel like once I had it, but I just can't remember anything particular about it. It's less sticky, Jennifer. Okay, yeah. You do want to be careful even on this green tape, though. Like if the decoupage is already done, no issues whatsoever. But say when I tape my decoupage down for this rounded top, I did have to be careful to peel that tape off slowly. But it didn't do anything. But that blue tape, it will. Yeah. I had the worst experience. I was doing stripes. I was so upset because I rushed it too. And then I think I used blue tape that had been in the garage. So it heated up. And so, that changes the glue and everything. And I peeled off a whole section on my piece. And I was already rushing it. So after that, no blue tape for me. And guys, like I said, I'll bring you in close and show you all the details. Okay, so I did not miss anything. Guys, if you watch on replay, #replay. Okay, so it's hot. Almost spilled it. All right, guys. So look, I don't pick this up. So I'm just going to kind of point you down so you can see how liquefied. Let's use this brush right here. Look how liquefied that is. Can you guys see? It's just liquid, just like paint. I'm going to get this off. And then, okay. Oh, sorry. Let me clean it off my floor because, of course, I got it on my floor. And by the way, there's a lot of things that you can scrub off your floor. This is not one that comes off very easily if it hardens on your floor. In fact, I have a few spots that I can't get off. All right, so we're gonna start creating that dimension on this little claw foot over here. And we've got paint. You guys, I love when you heat this gilding wax up. Look how opaque it goes on. And it dries absolutely beautifully. I don't want this to look like it was painted first. I really didn't intend to paint this. It's just I didn't want to be careful. So I didn't try to do these claw feet really well in the blue. So I don't want any of this blue to actually show through here. So which is, by the way, that's why I actually heated up my wax. Because when you heat it up and you turn it into this paint, sorry guys, I can't talk while I paint a straight line. It goes on so smooth and so opaque. It goes on perfectly. Let me just make this line right here. So to make a straight line, I'm using an angled brush. I wasn't quite straight. All right, I'm using an angled brush and I just lay my brush down and roll it across. You guys, this paint turns hard this wax turns hard pretty quick once it cools down. So it's already kind of hardened up here. So one thing about making this into the liquid form, like it's paint, it goes on very nice, thick, and opaque. When you put it on as a wax and it's a solid, you tend to have like areas that have different levels of thickness on them. So you might have a little transparent spot. You might have a little spot that is solid. It's hard to get a straight line because it's a solid. It's not like a liquidy like paint. So when you turn it into this liquid paint, you do use more. But it just goes on like an absolute dream. And one more straight line. You just put your hand down and sorry guys, I might be in front of the camera, but it's really hard to paint this straight line without being able to see. I'm sure I am. And I just want to get in a little bit more right there. Make sure I got it all the way to the bottom. I mean, I am going to go over this with some antique gold for the highlights, but we'll have this nice bronze down in the grooves. So I will let all this dry and set up, and then I will come back over with the fan brush. Well, I'll show you it Wednesday night. You're going to see it. It's been almost an hour, guys. I'm just going to make sure there's no more comments. So, of course, once you remove this from the heat, it's going to turn back into a solid, and you can use it just like normal, or you can reheat it. So I'm going to bring you guys in for a close-up. Let me see. Let's see. Yes, it grips different in different places. Oh, I know. I love it. And it's just so, it seems like it's so much shinier or so much more bling or something whenever you heat it up. I love it. Yeah, it's fabulous, Amber. Fabulous. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Well, I'll be back Wednesday, too, on Facebook. Not detaching. I know. You know what, Elena? I haven't read the comment you're talking about, but my phone changes everything, so I totally get it. Let's see here. All right, guys. So I think I've seen all the comments. I just want to thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Again, please subscribe. Any of the products, I've got the products we used tonight listed in the comments. Oh, I need to bring you in for a close-up. I'll do that while I'm talking. That's usually not very a good thing, but, you know, can't do two things at once. All right, so this is a close-up of the stripes. See how pretty they look. And check out those glow stripes. Can you see the differences in the sheen, guys? Trying to not get too much of a glare on it. And then let me bring you down here. See how opaque, whoops, hold on. I gotta flip the table over and paint the bottom still. But see how opaque that bronze is? It is super opaque. You wouldn't even know that there was paint underneath of it. And then this is where last week we talked about like all those highlights, like all that little dry brushing as you're going. All those highlights, it just makes such a huge difference, all of those little details. And we're going to finish that up on Wednesday night. Oh, Denise, thank you so much. You are so sweet. Thank you. Denise is so kind. She sent me a sweatshirt a few weeks ago from one of her favorite places. I shouldn't say live where you're at. Well, I mean, well, it's in New Jersey. That's fine. But it is so soft. It's so amazing. It's like my favorite sweatshirt ever now. Oh, anyway, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I can't seem to get my phone back in the tripod. But have an awesome rest of your week. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I will see you Wednesday night. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Uh-oh. I don't even know how to turn this off. Maybe this.